Good. All right, welcome, y'all. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Welcome to Herbal Remedies, Class 1. I'm going to be going through kind of an introduction and a background to herbs and herbal history, and I've got a lot of notes, as you can see, because I really want to lay a good foundation for why the use of herbs and the history of them and the purpose of using herbs. So yeah, I got a lot to kind of get through on this first one. The rest of the classes probably won't have quite as many notes, but yeah, I wanted to lay a good foundation, but I will get to the herbs for for stress and anxiety at the end, and yeah, I'm excited, and I'll go through kind of a quick introduction of myself because I know some of you kind of know me and some of you don't really know me, but first I just feel kind of honored and blessed to be able to speak to you guys. It's kind of a dream for a long time of mine to work here with Vaughn, and now I get to teach a class that he's asked me to do, and so I feel honored to speak to you guys, and I feel like the Lord's put a lot on my heart to kind of share, and so yeah, hopefully you guys can be blessed. I mean, just a little quick history about me regarding like health and nutrition. I'll try to make it quick, but just so yeah, you know a little bit about me. I've always been interested in like health and nutrition, but mostly from the worldly stance. I was an athlete and always trying to gain an edge on, how I could perform better, be a better athlete, take care of my body. I was always interested in that, but it wasn't until about 4 years ago I realized I really didn't know as much as I thought I did. A lot kind of happened, and the Lord kind of led me on a journey of taking me deeper into health, and I won't go through the whole. Won't go through the whole history, but my mom struggles with, what the doctors would consider a severe degenerative disease, and that was one big thing that I've done a lot of prayer and thought about. And one day He just kind of gave me some words and a picture and some visions, and started to speak to me about health. And so I just kind of was like, "All right, God, if this is you, I need you to help guide me on this whole health thing, because there's obviously a lot I don't know about." And He proceeded to show me that there's been a big attack from the enemy on our health. Especially in the last 100 years. He's cutting people's callings short. He's, people are going a lot earlier than they need to be, and it's not God's design. So getting back to partnering with God in our health and how we can live a long, healthy life the way He designed. And so, yeah, that's kind of a little bit. And since then, I've done different studies of my own, read a ton of books, learned from different naturopathic doctors. Vaughn, I met him about 3.5 years ago when he was doing the Partnering with God series over at IHOP, and just kind of blew my mind and really helped me enter in deeper into learning. But yeah, I've taken classes through the College of Natural Health. I'm currently getting certified through a naturopathic doctor in Florida that he's got a whole school of detoxification and healing. He's been practicing for almost 40 years and sharing his knowledge on he's world renowned and helping heal the people from the sickest to the sick. He gets the worst cancer cases, people with severed spines, and helps regenerate their bodies. And so it's just amazing stuff. So yeah, I just humbly stand before you. I'm still in the learning process, but I feel like the Lord's given me a lot to share. So yeah, like I said, I hope I can share some information to bless you guys. So yeah, y'all ready? So starting out, I wanted to first go to the Word, because there's some good scriptures that kind of lay the foundation. First in Genesis 1:29, God said, "See, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it shall be for food." So this was His original design for us to eat things in the way He created them, the stuff with the seeds. And it's crazy in today's world, everybody wants stuff without the seeds, but that wasn't God's original design. So I was reading actually just this morning and came across these other two scriptures that really popped out to me. Psalm 104:14, He causes the grass to grow for the cattle and the herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth. So that was just kind of interesting. And then I got reminded about the story of Daniel. It was in my kind of my daily reading. And this story about Daniel and what he ate. And I don't know if you guys know the whole story, but here's kind of some parts out of this. Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's delicacies, the best foods, and some translations talk about it being meats and who knows what all, but the best of the best of the best in those days, what they thought, he wouldn't let himself defile himself with that, nor the wine which they drank. Daniel said, please test your servants for 10 days and let them give us vegetables. The King James says pulse, because it actually means a lot more than just vegetables, but it's all the seed-bearing stuff. So a lot of people talk about it being the fresh produce at that time. So the fruits, the seeds, the nuts, the herbs, the vegetables, that type of stuff. So he said, test your servants for 10 days and let us give us this pulse to eat and water to drink, no wine. Then let our appearance be examined before you, and at the end of 10 days their features appeared better and fatter in flesh. That means not fatter, but fatter in their, they're more muscular, basically, than all the young men who ate the portions of the king's delicacies, the meats and all that. So, and it goes on to talk about, they continued to eat that way because they okayed it after this 10 days. And after a while, the king examined Daniel and his men and said, you guys are 10 times wiser, 10 times better, 10 times more athletic, whatever you want to call it, than all the other guys. And a big thing was because of what they ate. They didn't defile their body. They didn't, this stuff clogs your brain, this stuff clogs your body. So, this is kind of like straight from the Word of God that was really on my heart to share. So obviously, God's design from the beginning wasn't eating processed foods and all this crazy stuff. It's eating the things that He designed, the fruits, the seeds, the vegetables, the nuts, that type of stuff. So we do live in a fallen world, and some things have changed since the original design. But and I made this little comment in here: are we eating to live or living to eat? Too many people are, they're in bondage to these the foods that they eat because they want, they're addicted to them, the sugars, the dairies, the different stuff. So God designed us to eat for our health, and He did give us good foods that we would enjoy. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding those and figuring out how to prepare them. But when you learn how to eat in the way God created it, it could be super pleasuring and getting disconnected from the sugar addictions and all that. So and herbal medicine has a written history going back more than 5,000 years. A lot of people don't realize that. And it goes back even before that. I put in here long before recorded history. I believe in the Garden of Eden from day one, God was there with Adam telling him, hey, this bark of this tree does this, and this herb does that, and use this for this. And He was teaching him all that stuff, and it got passed down generations upon generations. But it goes back to the Chinese and Egyptians papyrus writings describe medicinal uses for plants as early as 3000 BC. So the history of plants and for medicinal purposes goes back a long time. It's interesting. I came across this too recently. The WHO, the World Health Organization, said that they estimated 80% of the people worldwide rely on herbal medicine for part of their primary health care, which is crazy because that's not the case here, obviously. And in Africa, it said up to 90% still rely on those original, traditions. Obviously in America, it's been overshadowed, especially in the last 100, 120 years, by the use of pharmaceutical medicine. And basically, this is the idea of man trying to say that he can do things better than God did, which is obviously not true, and that's why people are so sick today. So we all need to get back to that. We can't do things better than God. We need to partner with God because He made everything perfect. There's some cool stats in here that I put that, it's funny. I used to sell supplemental health insurance. We used to go around and talk to people about the stats for cancer and heart disease and how they were the #1 killers. And then I came across this recently. It says now more deaths are caused by conventional medicine than any other thing in America. More than cancer and more than heart disease. It's just crazy. Conventional medicine, one stat, and there's different ones out there, says 783,936 per year. And heart disease was only about 700,000 and cancer was 553. So it's just crazy stuff, and none of those stats should be like that. But to have conventional medicine is killing more people than anything else. That's shocking. We're giving people these man-made drugs that are messing them up and not actually curing the cause of what's going on. So and in herbal medicine, a lot of people consider it the alternative medicine, the weird, but what they don't think is that's actually traditional medicine. It's flipped around. The world has got us to believe it the other way around. the herbals and the traditional stuff has been around for, like I said, since the beginning of time. We've only since had this medical view, like the last 120 years with these drugs and this and that. But so a lot of people think of that being the traditional medicine. Well, it's the other way around. So yeah, and systems of herbal medicine. Chinese use their traditional Chinese medicine. In India, it's called Ayurveda. Those are some of the earliest stuff of that. And they always look at using herbs to bring the body back into balance so it can heal itself. So yeah, fascinating stuff. You can flip the page to paragraph F. This is a big idea that God designed our bodies to heal themselves. It's fantastic. I mean, I love the supernatural healings that God has for us too, and we're always to contend for that. But a lot of people just aren't partnering with Him in the way He designed us to for the body to heal itself. If we would just do what He said, the body would heal itself. We wouldn't ever have to go and pray for healing on something unless we had some type of an injury. So yeah, this is one of the main philosophies that natural health is basically based upon. But yeah, it comes from God. If the body's given the right things and it put in the right environment, treated properly, it heals itself. That's the way God designed it. It's pretty fascinating. If you guys were here for Vaughn's class last night, he talked all about the amazing design of the human body, and he's going to go through all the fascinating stuff. Like, I've been learning about it for a while, and it's like I can't even process everything. We're not supposed to. Scientists still don't even know everything that the body's capable of. It's crazy. So simplistically, because I like to break down the really complex into like simplistically, we're a bunch of cells bathed in fluid. It's called extracellular fluid. We got about 75 trillion cells, plus or minus, and we're bathed in this fluid. And that fluid is basically what nourishes the cells, and then what also they excrete into the cells, and the body removes the waste. So if the body's not, if you're over toxifying, that fluid becomes stagnant, doesn't have the nutrients it needs. The cells suffer. That's in its simplistic form. But yeah, the cells eat, they excrete, same way we do on a larger level. We eat, we excrete. It's the same thing. They're like little cities. So yeah, the quality of this fluid, thus the quality of our cells and our internal environment, is based on the choices we make. And so this is like a big thing that I would highlight, that I've heard over and over and over. We are what you eat, what you drink, the air you breathe, and what you put on your skin. So all those things, the skin's the biggest organ in the body. A lot of people don't understand what they put on the skin. It absorbs right into the bloodstream. It's huge. So yeah, a little comment here. If a nutrient's needed by a cell and it's not in the diet, it's not produced by the body, it's not available to the cell, and the cell suffers. A lot of times people don't realize you might not have a symptom yet, but your cells are suffering. A lot of people wait until it's too late, until your body's manifesting something. It actually takes a lot for your body to actually manifest a symptom. Yeah, and most people in America are eating, I kind of went on a little rant in this paragraph G, but just to give people a picture of what the average American does, it just sickens me, because I used to do some of this. It's funny, I used to drive late at night a lot right out of college, and I would stop at McDonald's all the time. And my go-to was like 2 or 3 double cheeseburgers and smash them. Like, that was good to me. Now I look back and just like want to throw up, I'm like, what was I thinking? But most people are eating fast food. They're drinking soda. They're eating all this processed sugar and white flour, and putting all sorts of chemicals on their body, and sitting in an office and drinking, breathing artificial air and under artificial lighting, and not exercising. And and it's funny, I worked in an office for 3.5 years too, and I noticed, if I wasn't continuing to go out and exercise and eat properly, it's easy to get in this slump, and my health started failing. So this is the picture. Yeah, people are microwaving their meals too, and taking synthetic drugs, and what do you think the quality of their cells are and that extracellular fluid in their body? And I put in here, almost all tissue failure begins with acidosis and toxicity, and that comes from those factors that I was just talking about. So paragraph H, I get into a concept that might be somewhat controversial, but from what I've understood and learned, there's no such thing as disease. It's a man-made thing. There's only weakened cells and failing cells. We keep coming up with new terms for diseases because we used to never have those, but the body's just getting weak and it's manifesting in different ways. But it's just, in a simplistic form, it's just the failing of cells and the weakening of cells. And if you strengthen and give those cells back what they need, the disease goes away. So yeah, health isn't a mystery. To disease is a natural process and effect of the body when the cells begin to fail from acidosis, toxicity, or deficiency. That's kind of the simplistic way of looking at it. So the medical industry is really focused on mainly, and I love the medical industry for some things, like if I break a bone or get in a car accident, and I love what the medical industry can do for me. But for the most part, in general health, they're just more concerned about treating symptoms rather than actually getting to the cause and the root of what's going on. So, giving you a drug to cover up your headache, or giving you your blood pressure's high, let me give you this to take it down. And then there's 1,000 symptoms with that just cause more things and never actually treat the root of the cause, which is probably going to continue to get worse. And so never treat the symptoms, cure the cause. That's the big focus. So getting those cells back healthy. And it's not always a hard process. But so getting into using herbs for healing and regeneration. I put in here right away, I want to address the thought process of people wanting to approach herbs in the same way that you approach medicine. We get it all the time here in the store, and it's hard for me sometimes because people say, hey, I got a headache, I want to take something natural rather than the ibuprofen. Well, you can take this herb that might help you get rid of your pain, the headache, but there's a reason your body has the headache in the first place, and what is that reason? And so I try to tell people, hey, you can take this and it'll help you, and yes, it's not going to hurt your body. And that's sometimes you do need something to cover up the symptom. But hey, let's try to figure out what the root is. Your body's trying to tell you something. So we can't just approach even herbs in the same mentality, just trying to cover up the symptoms, wanting to get to the root cause. So this requires, alkalizing, detoxifying, nourishing, and strengthening at the cellular level. So for best results, I bolded this in the middle. Herbs should be used as part of a complete nutritional program, including lifestyle changes designed to improve overall health. The whole individual needs to be treated. We're body, soul, and spirit. Body's just part of it. But, so I'm a big believer we need to, people need to be working on their mental attitudes, their spiritual side of things, work on all levels to fully be healed. That's kind of like, I think what eventually I'll have a ministry doing is helping people be prosperous on all levels. Physically, spiritually, emotionally. That's the way God designed it. They're not meant to be separated. It's all together. And so when one is failing, it actually affects the other. So that's the way we should approach health too. We need to get control of our health. And it's important to embrace this kind of new paradigm, I put it, of considering that prevention is actually better than the cure. Because we're not trying to cure disease. We're just trying to keep the body's cells healthy, and realizing the healing power that God put in and designed in our body. So, and part of this new paradigm, I call it, is holism, which basically the same thing that I'm talking about. Nothing occurs in a vacuum. Everything's related. You treat the whole person, not the disease. You might have a diseased organ, but you actually treat the whole body, and the body will heal that organ. So, and ultimately recognizing that healing is ultimately performed by God. And there's a cool quote down here by Benjamin Franklin: God heals and doctors take the fees. So, which is cool. Yeah, he designed the body to heal itself. So we just have to partner with him in that. So herbs are vital for detoxification and regeneration and restoration of these cells. They're very, very powerful. They haven't been hybridized like a lot of the fruits and the vegetables today, so they still have that, whatever you want to call it, that original design, original awareness that God put in them. You can look at it scientifically too, and people show that those that haven't been hybridized, they have a higher electrical charge. And they have more medicinal compounds that I get into here at some point. I think in paragraph F. The acids, alkaloids, saponins, flavonoids. Again, I'm not a big detail person, but those are things: tannins, antioxidants, bitter principles. These are the active principles in herbs that aren't as common in other non-hybrid or in other hybrid vegetables and stuff. So that's all the herbs are, is a non-hybrid vegetable that's got its original intent. So again, it's so cool in paragraph E when we eat foods that carry the original design that God had and it meets our original design. Powerful stuff happens, and health and vitality come back to the body. So, I like this quote from Hippocrates I put in here too. Let your foods be your medicines, and your medicines be your foods. So, he's considered the father of Western medicine from way back. So, people knew this for a long time. So all right, finally getting to stress and anxiety. I'm going to hopefully try to stay in this hour window, which I think I can. I'm trying to cruise through these pretty quick. So at least you guys get notes to take home and study, because there's a lot of info in here in this first class. So stress and anxiety. I chose to talk about this one first because it's probably one of the biggest things we get is people dealing with stress and anxiety. I mean, we're in a fast-paced world, completely different than the way God designed it. Going, driving through traffic, waking up to an alarm. It's just crazy. I put some of kind of daily stuff, and with technology and people staying stimulated with technology in front of them for hours at a time and late at night, and eating dead food and using stimulants to make it through the day. I mean, we're doing all these things that are causing us to be in more stress and not treating our bodies properly so it can adapt to this stuff. And so a lot of people are just stressed out and have anxiety, and a lot of it just has to do with the lifestyle. But yeah, going back to trying to partner with God and how we're living life. So so many people are dealing with stress and anxiety. So when it comes back to paragraph B, fixing the root of the issue of stress and anxiety. This is important to deal with total lifestyle changes too, because there's some herbs that can help you with your stress and anxiety, but a lot of it comes down to your diet, your rest, having exercise, less artificial stimulation, caffeine. And a lot of people are living on coffee and energy drinks, and and I've been there too. And there was a time I got completely off of it, and then the body should be able to be nourished enough to give you energy through the whole day. You should never need an artificial stimulant. You should never need a Red Bull or 6 cups of coffee a day. That's crazy. A little bit here and there is not bad, but everything in moderation. But yeah, proper spiritual connection with God. He is ultimately our strength, and having our proper attitudes and mindsets. So, it's always like getting in the Word and reconnecting with the way He designed us to think and have attitudes and stuff too. So spending time out in the sun and being out in God's creation too is, I think, so vital and so important. I love to do now. And I mean, it's hard sometimes in this world, but we need to get out and be out. He designed the sun to, our skin to absorb the sun, and it's good for us. And there's a lot of attack against that right now. But if the body's healthy, the sun is powerful for you. I love being out in the sun. It feels so good. He designed it that way. So paragraph C, anxiety and stress are usually always linked to adrenal weakness. And I don't know, that might be a shock to some of you. I don't know if you've heard that before, but the adrenal glands are huge, and most people don't even know anything about them. They're probably one of the most important glands in the body. And they're just little guys that sit on top of your kidneys. So most people just don't know about that. We know about the liver, and we know about the lungs and different things, but adrenal glands are powerful. And I didn't even really get into what all the adrenal glands do, because it would probably take up 6 pages, but fascinating stuff. One of the biggest things that they're, in relation to anxiety and stress is producing neurotransmitters, which are essentially for brain and nerve functions. Epinephrine, which is adrenaline, norepinephrine, and dopamine, just among a few of the many it produces. But these affect the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, so turning nerve responses on and off. So when your adrenal glands aren't functioning right, you can't deal with stressful situations very well. So much of the artificial stimulation and the stress, your glands are functioning into overdrive all the time, and then they get exhausted. They don't have the proper nutrition to keep going, and so all people with anxiety and high stress levels have adrenal weakness. And that could be tied to a lot of things too that can be symptoms of adrenal weakness, and I just put a few of them in here. Low energy, low endurance, anxieties, emotional sensitivities, sleep disorders, memory problems, all the itises, which is the inflammatory conditions, any arthritis, bursitis, any of that type of stuff, because one of the big things, which I didn't get into, is it produces steroids that help remove inflammation in the body. And if your adrenal glands aren't producing properly and they're weak, it can't put out those fires, the inflammation in the body, which is mainly caused from bad diet and acidosis. And cholesterol plaquing, that's another thing. It can result in that, among a bunch of other things. But another thing I put this in here too. Low blood pressure is usually always an indication of adrenal weakness. So some people say systolic under 118. It's always an indicator of adrenal weakness. But it can also manifest as high blood pressure too. But usually the low blood pressure is always an indicator. So healthy blood pressure, from some people say it should be 120 to 130 top number and 60 to 70 in the bottom number. That's just like one indication you can kind of look at and get an idea. It's not a for sure thing, but some people are pretty serious about that being under 118, that's always adrenal, and I think I would agree. So get some water real quick. Am I going too fast for you guys on this? I'm trying to go through it quickly because it's a lot of info. So getting into these adaptogenic herbs for stress and anxiety, which I love herbs. People call me the herb guy here because I love learning about the herbs. I just love learning about all the cool things God designed for our body to put in us and how they can have powerful impacts on us, you know. It's fascinating stuff. So I learn about some of the herbs. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of herbs, and you know, each continent has different ones that grow, and you know, it's cool learning about some of the top ones from each place. And eventually, I'd like to learn more about all the ones that we can grow here and grow my own. But you know, yeah, it's fascinating stuff. So, talking about adaptogenic herbs, the term adaptogenic was coined by this Russian scientist back in 1947. Basically, they were trying to find the Russians were trying to find like what they could give their Olympic athletes to help them perform better and be the best. So how to recover quicker, how to, you know, the Russians were pretty smart back then actually in knowing that it's not just the physical body too, but your mental, your emotional, everything has tied into even athletic performance. So they were looking for things that could help the body adapt to stress, adapt to this physical, mental, emotional, you know, and help strengthen the body. Would never actually take away from the body like drugs do. They might give you an effect, but it's going to have a reverse effect too. So they started studying all these herbs, and they came up with this term adaptogenic for herbs they would find that would help the body adapt to all this stress that they're putting the body under, and help it perform better and actually strengthen the body. So I love adaptogens. They're cool. I'm a big athlete, former athlete, and still train on and off. And so I love to take that type of stuff that's going to help me give more energy and help my body recover quicker. And in the next class, I'm going to go through a whole thing on herbs for athletes and for strength and recovery and power, and because I love that stuff. So, but they're great for stress and anxiety. So in many studies, adaptogens have been shown to increase physical and mental performance, resist and adapt to stress, protect the cell DNA while increasing cardiovascular function, oxygen efficiency, ATPs, which the production of energy at the cellular level. So yeah, and that's just a couple of the benefits of some of these adaptogens. They're still trying to figure out like what all they do and what all is in some of these herbs. They don't even know sometimes. But so most of the herbs that I'm talking about in this section, the adaptogenic herbs, yeah, are all adaptogenic herbs for stress and anxiety, and that also have an effect on the adrenal glands. Some of these are, yeah, real powerful adrenal herbs. So again, because stress and anxiety is tied to the adrenal glands, something that's going to nourish the adrenal glands and then help the body adapt to that stress and bring you back into balance. So at the end, I have a section talking about just kind of more calming, relaxing herbs, but they're not as much adaptogenic. So they can help in a stressful time and help calm you down, but they're not necessarily like as strong of an adaptogen. So yeah, number one, this shouldn't be a surprise to some of you that know me and hear me talk about, but holy basil. Holy basil is crazy stuff. Like, I can't keep enough of it here in the store. So many people just swear by holy basil, and we give it to people so much because it really works. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I give it to so many people. I gave some to my cousin recently, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, that stuff is like," you know, she was a little skeptical at first. An herb is really going to help me, like with my stress, and she called me like, "This stuff's amazing." You know, when I'm really stressed is when she notices it the most, and you know, it talks about that. So its greatest potential in the area of stress relief and relaxation, and it doesn't alter your mood like a pharmaceutical does, but it actually helps your body function optimally during those times of stress. So, yeah, they've done tons of scientific studies on holy basil. Helps decrease stress, hormone levels, corticosterone in particular, which is one of your stress hormones. Enhances cerebral circulation, improves memory, reduces unclear thinking and mental fog, helps balance hormones, maintain healthy cortisol levels, has anti-inflammatory properties. So, I mean, I love holy basil. It's powerful stuff, and it is considered an adaptogen, helping your body adapt to that over the long term, and strengthening your body so that yeah, you can handle that stuff better. So, and it's different. I get this question all the time, like, well, what about just a regular basil? You know, they're completely different. Holy basil is in a whole different class than your cooking basil, so I kind of made that point in here. So yeah, holy basil is one of the top ones that I would suggest for that. On a paragraph C, licorice root. This is probably the most studied herb for adrenal glands. So, but it's an adaptogen that helps with so much. And again, it's kind of hard for me to write up a little tiny paragraph on an herb because you could write like a whole book on each one of them. But I'm just taking some of the points out here, and you guys can always study the herbs more. And I have a book in here that has a little bit more of a description. But yeah, licorice, power herb for the adrenal glands and for all the endocrine glands, which are kind of the government of the body. The endocrine glands run and tell your body what to do and produce steroids and neurotransmitters and hormones and all that type of stuff. So it's healing to the whole endocrine gland system. So it does a ton of different things, but you know, one of the main things it does in relation to like stress and anxiety is it's helping balance your cortisol levels, preventing the breakdown of the adrenal hormones such as cortisol, the primary stress-fighting hormone, making the hormones more available to the body so that they can use them. So, and again, I mean, some people have tried to like understand how they work. Most of the time, I'm not a detail guy. I just know they do work because they've worked for thousands of years. But they've actually found scientific reasons why they're working and balancing things. But it's natural anti-inflammatory steroid without inhibiting the production of the adrenal glands' production of steroids too, which a lot of people come in here and have, you know, they're on pharmaceutical steroids, and that actually shuts your body down from producing its own steroids, because any hormone you take in synthetically that your body's supposed to produce on its own, your body will stop producing it because it says, oh, there's plenty of that, I don't need to make it anymore. And so that's another reason for adrenal weakness is people are taking steroids, and the adrenals are really important for producing steroids. So the adrenals go, well, I don't need to do that anymore. It's already taken care of. But that's the cool thing about licorice is it helps the body produce more adrenal steroids and doesn't suppress it. Increases neurotransmitters, steroid production, has blood cleansing, detoxifying, healing properties, just a ton of stuff. So licorice is fantastic. And then Siberian Ginseng. It's actually called Eleuthero. It's not an actual ginseng. An actual ginseng is in the Panax ginseng family. But they call it Siberian ginseng because this is one that the Russians discovered, grew up in Siberia, and it had a lot of similar effects to ginseng. But yeah, it's one of the great endocrine gland herbs, especially for the adrenal glands, which is why I got it in here. It's a cellular proliferator, which means it strengthens the whole body, strengthens cells at the cellular level, increases neurotransmitter and steroid production, improves vitality and stamina. This is like one of the big ones that the Russians would give their athletes for helping them adapt to really hard, intense workouts. But it's used a ton for chronic fatigue and loss of energy, strengthening the immune system, increasing circulation, helping reduce cholesterol, relieving emotional and mental physical stress. So another really popular one that the Russians used a ton, and then the West kind of figured it out and started using it, and now they're growing it around here too. So a lot of people, they've done studies since, and scientific studies say it helping them produce or work better physically and having more resistance to disease and increased clarity. So a really powerful herb. Paragraph E, rhodiola. Rhodiola is interesting. I got a history with rhodiola, kind of, where I didn't even know that much about it, but I knew it would help with energy. I used to be a part of a multi-level marketing company, and we used to sell these rhodiola pills, and it was like the new hot thing because the West just figured out this whole rhodiola thing, another herb that was discovered by, I think, the Russians, but not discovered, but they are the ones that kind of made it popular. It's been around for, since the early times, but we used to take these rhodiola pills for energy. And I didn't know anything about it. I just knew it gave me energy. But now it's fascinating to learn how amazing rhodiola is and the history that goes back to the Vikings. They prized rhodiola. If you go back to some of the writings of the Vikings, and if you know, the Vikings were they were fierce. They were warriors, and they were the ones that would the conquerors of that day, and they relied highly on rhodiola to increase their physical strength, endurance, give them mental clarity, just for vitality, all that stuff. So many good things: strengthening the nervous system, fighting depression, enhancing the immune system, elevating the capacity for exercise, enhanced memory, energy, sexual function. I mean, all that stuff kind of goes together. But in today's world, when we've done scientific studies, the most promising application is related to depression and anxiety disorders. So a powerful adaptogenic herb that can really help with depression, anxiety, all that type of stuff. And they're showing that it's actually inhibiting enzymes responsible for decreasing the brain's level of serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine. So and we need those, and so it's working opposite of that, but among a bunch of other things that it does. So rhodiola is good stuff. And then astragalus. Astragalus root. Another powerful cellular proliferator, strengthening the whole body. And most people know astragalus actually from its immune boosting side of things. Most people think about it as immune herb, strengthening. It helps increase your body's production of white blood cells. But it's crazy awesome for strengthening the body, strengthening the adrenal glands. It has a powerful effect on the adrenal glands, the nervous system, the whole endocrine gland system. But yeah, it got its popularity from its immune system function. But so good for so many different things, boosting energy levels, stamina. It is an herb that definitely said it's okay for long-term use, and a lot of these are, but there's a couple that you probably don't want to take at high levels for a long period of time. But most of these are safe to take long-term. But astragalus especially, I've read a lot that it was safe to take for long periods of time. Increase cardio output, strengthen the cardiovascular system. So another just powerful herb for that. Ashwagandha. I love ashwagandha, and this is a couple years ago I started reading about ashwagandha, and then I tried growing it in my garden because I read so many awesome things about ashwagandha. They consider ashwagandha Indian ginseng. So because ginseng is one of the most studied herbs. It is the most studied herb, period, in all of history. But a lot of people that find an herb that has similar properties, they call it, there's like maca is the Peruvian ginseng, and ashwagandha is the Indian ginseng. So it has similar properties to a ginseng, but it's different. But yeah, powerful adaptogenic herb. Adrenal and immune support, increase your resistance to stress, increasing energy, immune boosting. Another really powerful one for the immune system too. So it's kind of like, we always talk about pharmaceuticals. They always have side effects. You guys ever see the commercials? Or this might be good for your anxiety, but it could kill you. It could you might have diarrhea with bloody stools, and it's like, why would anybody want to take that? Like, it's crazy. So pharmaceuticals always have side effects, and herbs, we always tell people have side benefits. Because you might be taking it for one thing, but then it's going to help with 100 other different things that you might not even be taking it for. But so ashwagandha, you can take it for your stress and anxiety, and it's going to help you with that. But it's really powerful for the immune system, just like astragalus. So it produces, another big thing I've read and learned about, and I use a lot of these herbs, is its powerful effect on the cardio system, helping you get more air. And obviously that's huge. Oxygen is probably the most important thing we need, and if your lungs are functioning more efficiently and you can get more oxygen into the body, you can have more energy, heal better, clear out. That's big time important. So a bunch of scientific studies have been done on ashwagandha too, showing how it reduces the negative effects of stress, slows tumor growth, just all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I put at the bottom, part of its anti-stressor effects appear to be from suppressing stress-induced increases in dopamine receptors in the brain and its ability to significantly reduce cortisol levels. So some people want the specific, well, how does it do that? And so I try to put a little bit of that in here, because I'm more of just like, hey, if it's been studied for thousands of years and they know it does that, then it does that, But I'm not a super detailed person. But it's cool that they've actually done scientific studies on all these herbs, proving why they're doing what they've been traditionally used for thousands of years. So that's ashwagandha. Another note on ashwagandha too is some herbs are slightly stimulating. You wouldn't want to take at night, especially some of these that are powerful for the adrenals. Ashwagandha is one that is okay to take at night. It actually helps calm calm you. So some of them are stimulating, but they also have a calming, which kind of sounds contradictory. But ashwagandha is just in general no stimulating effect, just a calming. It will strengthen the body, so long term you'll have more energy. But you can take it at night and go to sleep, and it can actually help a lot of people. A lot of people notice that relaxing feel when they take it. So St. John's wort. It's interesting. I used to always think, what is St. John's wort? Why do they call it that? And then when I researched it, it's because it would always bloom right around June 24th, which is St. John's Day, and so they called it St. John's wort because of that. So I always thought that was a weird name for an herb, but why would you call it that? But yeah, one of the great herbs for the nervous system and fighting depression, anxiety, irritability. So they're doing studies on it now that say it's more powerful than Prozac and a pharmaceutical. So again, people have been using this for a ton, and especially for its grown in popularity as an antidepressant, helping with depression, anxiety, helping elevate the mood. People that are grumpy, if you know anybody grumpy. St. John's wort can help boost the mood, but among its ability to relax and affect the nervous system and anxiety and tension. And yeah, it's got sedative and pain relieving effects. Not super powerful pain relieving, but it does have some. Using the treatment of neuralgia, anxiety, and tension. So another great herb, works a little bit differently than a lot of the other ones, but a fantastic one for that type of stuff. So yeah, those are kind of like some of the top adaptogenic herbs that I wanted to talk about for stress and anxiety. There's a ton more actually, but those would be my top go-to ones. I didn't want to give you guys a forever list of things. And then I'm kind of getting into the calming, soothing, relaxing herbs that are not as much adaptogenic, still awesome herbs, but you can just take to relax you and are just, again, things that people have been using for a long time. Valerian roots. But it's been used to soothe a lot of nerves over the years. Yeah, it's traditionally known for, soothing, calming, relaxing. Again, with the multi-level marketing company I was with, we had a valerian and hops pill that we would give people, and it was to help them go to sleep better, relax and go to sleep. And we would take it, and sometimes we'd be super sleepy and take a bunch of them, and we'd sleep like a baby, like almost sleep too hard. But valerian, very calming, relaxing, aids in anxiety because it does support the adrenal glands. It's not considered in the term of adaptogenic, but it does have some of those effects. Relieving nervous tension, muscle spasms, seizures, depression. So yeah, this is just another strengthener for the brain and the nervous system. Helps in hyperactivity. If you have hyperactive kids or if you're hyperactive, it can calm the nerves, relax. So helping reduce blood pressure and stress from tension as well. So valerian, very, very strong calming herb. Kava root. Kava, I understand, is pretty powerful. It's one of the most powerful antispasmodic herbs. So especially useful for relieving nervous tension throughout the mind and body. So yeah, real powerful to calm. A lot of people use it in sleep formulas because it's so powerful to calm and relax. In ancient cultures, they used to get the kava root and just chew on it, and or make little teas out of it and drink it at night, and it would help calm and relax. And some people even say it has a somewhat similar effect to like an opiate-like effect, a light opiate-like effect, but it's not an opiate. But yeah, very powerful for anti-anxiety. There's several people that I know that have taken kava, and it just super helps, like just the stress kind of melts off for the day and just relax. So another powerful one. Yeah, a lot of things I read on it said almost instantly dissipate the effects of like fears, anxieties, like just go away. So very powerful, but I would caution some people on, if you don't want to be sleepy, you probably don't want to take kava. So you might want to take it in the evening if you're going to take something like that. So, and it's good for a bunch of other things too. But Skullcap, looks like I'm staying somewhat on time here. Skullcap is one of the greatest herbs for the brain, nerve, and spine. So you can tell from its name. Again, I don't know specifically why they named it or who named it Skullcap, but its effect on the brain and the nerves. So relieving, that tension. It's a nervine, which means its effect on calming the nervous system. Sedative, antispasmodic, strengthens the brain and the nervous system. Helps with insomnia because it helps you relax and go to bed and sleep deeper. Strengthens the medulla part of the brain is what they've found. And just calming and relieving. So there's a lot of again, even sleep formulas that have Skullcap and some of that stuff because of that calming effect that it can help. Not something that's going to knock you out, but something that's going to help relax. Lavender. I mean, everybody knows about lavender. It's probably the most popular aromatic smelling flower herb out there. But yeah, everybody knows it's got a relaxing, calming. Women love to put it in their bath and soak in it and smell it, and it's cool stuff. I wouldn't maybe soak in it at night, but but it does smell good, and it's known for centuries, for thousands of years, to calm and to relax, and yeah, helping remove headaches, insomnia, acts as a tonic for the nervous system, returning vitality to people with nervous exhaustion. So lavender is a great one, and you can take that in a ton of different ways. But lemon balm leaf, lemon balm is a little bit newer to me, but it's interesting. In Europe, it's like their top herb almost in Europe. They lemon balm for everything. You have a headache, take lemon balm. You have anxiety, take lemon balm. It's like everywhere. It's funny. The owner Vaughn, him and his wife went on a trip to Europe. I forget where, like a year or two ago, and they talked about everywhere you go, lemon balm, lemon balm, lemon balm, because it's powerful stuff, and it could be considered an adaptogenic herb, but yeah, I put it here for its ability to just reduce the stress, antidepressant properties, relieving tension and stress, lighten depression, improving memory, lengthening attention spans. That type of stuff is some of the most prominent stuff. But again, an herb that you could go and research, and it has like 1,000 different uses for it. But yeah, lemon balm tea, lemon balm, you can take it a ton of different ways. So powerful for that stuff. And they're researching a lot for Alzheimer's disease nowadays too, to help people. Yes, sir.
Do you know where lemon balm comes from?
Originally?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I would imagine somewhere in Europe or Asia, but
It's a separate plant, has nothing to do with lemon trees or...
Right.
Yeah.
Completely thing.
Lemongrass.
Yeah, not lemongrass, not lemon. Yeah, the question was where does it come from? And I don't know exactly where it comes from, but yeah, it's not a part of the lemon tree. It's not a part of the lemongrass. It's a completely separate herb. Why they even call it lemon balm, I don't really know, because it doesn't smell or taste like lemon to me. But yeah, I would imagine it comes from Europe, Asia somewhere. Chamomile flowers. Yeah, people love chamomile flowers. I was just in Colorado on a trip, and I would find these chamomile flowers fresh, and they smell so good. But yeah, people know them for their aromatic smell, and some people say it's almost kind of like an apple smell, but widely used for sedative, calming nerves, good for insomnia. Another just good relaxing tea that people love to have a lot. People love their chamomile tea because it relaxes, and it smells awesome too. So helps with digestion, muscle relaxant, sedative, anti-inflammatory, another thing that's got a bunch of uses. So yeah, so that's kind of it on the calming and soothing herbs. Really going through the herbs at all. I mentioned I didn't want to like overwhelm with you guys with a million different herbs, but give you a handful here and there, some of the best ones that I know of and have studied that can help with this type of stuff. So I wanted to get into a little bit of like how to take herbs, because I think that's a question a lot of people have, or could be overwhelmed with. There's all these herbs, and what's the best way to take them, and how do I take them? And I mean, you can pretty much take them any way you want to, but I put here firstly, I believe herbs are meant to be, God designed them to be consumed in their raw, fresh state. But, we don't have access to some of these herbs in that state a lot of times, and we all need to get back to doing gardens and growing herbs and vegetables and fruits more. I think we all should be doing that and growing our own herbs like this. And you could have them fresh, but a lot of people don't have access to that. So, yeah, another form is in a tincture form, and some people hear that word and they don't know what it is, but it's basically taking the herb and extracting the active principles of that herb into a liquid form. So it's highly concentrated, highly absorbable because it's in a liquid form. We love liquid form. People, especially people that are sick, they have compromised digestion, absorption, and utilization, and they can't process something. So a good comment to make is, a long time ago I used to think and hear, you are what you eat. Well, it's not entirely true. As I study more of natural health, it's all about what you eat, but also what you can assimilate and utilize. So your body has to break down everything into the smallest form to be able to utilize it. And if it can't do that, it just goes in and goes out, and your body can't actually use it. So yeah, it breaks down proteins into amino acids and then uses the amino acids to rebuild. It breaks down fats into fatty acids. It breaks down carbohydrates into glucose and glycogen and all this crazy stuff. So a lot of people's digestion are compromised and they're not able to break down things, therefore being able to actually use them. So the liquid herbs are really good because they're super utilizable. You can drop them right at the tongue. Some of it will absorb sublingually right into the bloodstream, and then you swallow the rest of it, and the body can utilize that very, very easily. There's minimal digestion involved in it. So that's a great way to do it. But yeah, and it talks a little bit about here, because I've wanted for a long time, and then I researched it. But boiling and heating certain things, if that damages the properties of the herb, and so, but traditionally a lot of people have used teas, and so they're heating, they're boiling, and so they've studied it, and it can damage some of the vitamins, the water soluble vitamins. It can damage those, but the active medicinal part of the plants, the tannins, the oils, that type of stuff doesn't get damaged and can still be utilized. So even boiling is okay. But yeah, and then I talk about herbal formulas being a good combination, and a great way to use the herbs, especially for adrenal formulas. It could probably have a combination of 6 or 7 different herbs. You're putting them all together, and they work synergistically. And they're going to work in different ways. So taking one herb or taking a combination of 6 or 7 that are working together is a lot of times a lot more powerful. So yeah, here's just a little written example of the different ways you can take herbs. Herbal tinctures, like I said, being, in my opinion, kind of the best way, besides having the raw, fresh plant. But you're extracting, you're concentrating it, and then you're able to absorb that really powerfully. So yeah, I kind of explained that. Herbal teas. Teas are a great way to take herbs, and a lot of people come and get our herbs and make teas out of them. And teas are something, especially herbal teas, you can drink several times a day. Load it with different herbs. So I put kind of a general outline of, in general, 1 heaping teaspoon of the herb to 1 cup of tea. And if it's a flower or a leaf, to boil it for 3 to 6 minutes, let it steep for another 5 to 10. Or if the herb is a root, which most of them are the root, boil them for longer. You want to boil them for 10 or 15 minutes to extract into the liquid more, and then let it steep for another 10 or 15 minutes. So yeah, and you can drink these herbal teas several times a day. I mean, some people will have them. The Chinese are huge on teas and ginseng teas and this, and they'll drink them 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. But they're known for using the herbs for vitality and longevity, and a lot of the Chinese that still follow that are living into their hundreds and completely healthy. So and then another form is just taking the dried. The next best thing to the raw fresh is somebody that's getting the raw fresh, or it's just been dried and then they're powdering it in its whole form. So, and I'm a fan of taking it in the whole form too, rather than just extracting, even though that can be really powerful. But taking the whole form, because God created it all together for one reason, and it's got its fiber and all this stuff together. When you're treating medicinally, sometimes the tinctures are better because it's just giving you the active principles. But for general health, sometimes I almost prefer taking the whole herb. So I do a lot of smoothies, and I'll put scoops of herbs in my smoothies and blend it up with fruit, and makes it not taste as bad too. But you can buy them in capsule form. A lot of people sell them just the herb in a vegetable capsule, so you can palate it better. But yeah, that's another great way to take them. Although some people, if they're super sick and their digestion is weak, they might not be able to, again, process and utilize that herb in its whole form, as well as like a tincture or something like that. Another thing I didn't include on the sheet, but I was thinking about later, is essential oils. Essential oils are powerful. It's another way to use herbs. Super powerful because they're taking the whole plant and squeezing out just the oil. So they're super concentrated, super powerful. And so you can use a lot of these herbs, and a lot of them aren't in essential oil form, but like the holy basil you can get in essential oil. Lavender, a lot of people use lavender for relaxing, and but yeah, essential oils are very powerful, and you can put them on the bottom of your foot and absorb into the bloodstream. You can put them on your wrist. You can put them on the back of your neck. Some people put peppermint on their on their head to relieve headaches. And so a lot of people, there's tons of, and essential oils is something I'm newer to, but yeah, they're really powerful. It's something we didn't have access to using like maybe hundreds of years ago, but we're finding that we can squeeze out these oils and you can use them medicinally and be really powerful. So that's another great way to take herbs. So yeah, I'm basically done, but we always kind of reserve the end of class for question and answer. You guys can ask any questions, and I can try to answer to the best of my knowledge. Yes?
If you take chamomile, if you take it every day, is that okay? And then also, if you stop taking it, is it going to be any harder to sleep? In other words, is your body going to change anything?
Adapt to it, yeah.
Harder to sleep?
So the question for the video is, can you take chamomile long term, and will your body like adapt and have a hard time coming off of it if you're using it at night to sleep? And so my understanding is chamomile is fine to use. It's nothing that's addicting. It's nothing that's habit forming. It's a very like gentle herb, so it can be used continuously as far as I know and not have any negative side effects and no effects coming off of it. So from what I understand. Any other questions?
I did. I just recently started coming to you guys. What is your way of telling with the client when they come in if they need their food, their herbs, their essential oils? Maybe they need to revamp the way they speak over themselves. Are you muscle testing for that? Or are you using body fluids?
Yeah.
To know where a client is at?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. So the question again was how, if we have a client coming in with certain ailments, how are we best testing them and making the best recommendations, whether diet, essential oil, herb, all that? Are we muscle testing? So we don't use muscle testing here. I mean, Vaughn has some testing modalities that he uses. Plus, he's just so experienced. He's kind of the expert. So he just can tell by symptoms and what's going on, but then he uses the testing a lot of times to confirm what's already he thinks is going on. A lot of times, the body will give you signs of what the problem is. So you can look at somebody, and if somebody has anxiety and they have low blood pressure and they have arthritis and this and that, I'm going to go automatically, you got adrenal problems, among some other things. So, and then what to recommend, that's a little bit harder. It's probably more in depth to kind of get into what to recommend, and I'm still understanding how to recommend the best things, but we're always trying to figure out what the root of the problem is and address that. So what's the best way that this person, for their specific need, we can address and strengthen that root problem? And for everybody, it's going to be a little different, depending on their history and how compromised their health is, how compromised their digestion is. But I love the liquid herbal tinctures, especially for treating somebody. But yeah, so there's a lot that goes into that question. So different eliminative organs needs to be working properly as you're detoxifying, but in general, alkalizing the body, eating more natural foods, whole foods the way God designed them, having good water. But yeah, as far as like what exactly to prescribe, it's going to depend a lot on the person. So hopefully that kind of helps.
Are there any herbs that you would recommend for ADD or ADHD?
Yeah, so it's funny you mentioned the question is about ADD and ADHD and what herbs I would recommend, or in general. And I'm not the expert on ADD and ADHD, but from what I understand, a lot of times that's tied in with the adrenals too. So it's interesting. We have a formula that's called Focus and Attention, and it's adrenal formula, and it's a kid's one. And then we have an adult one too. It's called Adrenal Focus Blend or something like that. And so, yeah, they're so tied to that focus, that it's that nervousness that the body's, it's weak and it's not processing, it's causing this not able to focus, not able to concentrate. A lot of it's tied to the adrenals. There could be other stuff going on with the gut, compromised issues with digestion in the gut that's leaking things into the system and causing stuff like that. But again, I'm not the expert. Vaughn is actually, if you're interested, he's going to be doing on Mondays a Healing by Design series where he's going to go A to Z for healing conditions. He's going to talk about ADD and ADHD, and so he's going to hit on that, and that'll be really good if you're interested in that, to listen to more in depth on what he has to say. But yeah.
Years ago, I heard that sometimes when you're taking an herb on a regular basis, that sometimes you need to lay off of it for a short period of time to kind of let your body reset. And I'm sure this goes herb by herb, and they're not all the same. You couldn't put them all in the same category.
Right.
But is there any truth to that? And how would you approach that? Or
Yeah.
taking something on a regular basis?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. So the question's taking herbs on a regular basis, if there's any need to like come off of them for a while, or just how to, because some of them, they recommend cycling on and off, and what my opinion is on that. So, I mean, I think it is true in some cases, and it does go herb by herb, and I maybe don't have a perfect answer for that, but there are some that you probably don't want to take long term, and that you do need to do for a while, come off of it, see how the body is without it, and then come back on it. Because sometimes you're using an herb to treat medicinally, and then once the body's restored, you don't need to take it anymore. And it can actually overstimulate you if you're back in order. So, it's kind of a hard question to answer, but there is some truth to that, and some herbs you need to, and a lot you are safe to just take whenever, but diving more into that, you have to go kind of herb by herb and situation by situation, I think. So.
I've heard echinacea is one of them that you don't take long term. There's no reading on back.
Yeah.
Like I think not longer than a week or something.
Yeah, and I don't know why they say that about echinacea, but I've heard that too. But echinacea being one that you're not supposed to take long term, only for a week or two at a time. So,
Is holy basil okay to take long term as far as you know?
Is holy basil okay to take long term as far as I know? As far as I know, yes. I don't know any reason that would not be okay. Thank you. But as far as I know, there's nothing about that would be a bad reason to take it long term. But as far as I know, that's not one I've heard anything about. Any other questions? Yes.
Some herbs are spices, some spices are herbs. How would you define the difference, if there is such a difference?
Defining the difference between spices and herbs. I don't have the perfect answer to that, but in my the way I understand it is spices and herbs are the same, but I think the spices are the ones that people are using more for enhancing the flavor of food. Is just maybe there's a more scientific explanation than that, but that's just the way I understand it. So some spices are foods like cayenne pepper and ginger and a lot of things, but and they're good medicinally, but that people use them to flavor and to enhance the food, and so that's what I think the difference is. They're the same. So, any other questions? All right. Well, thank you guys. I hope that helps and you got some good information.
Very helpful, thank you.
And next week will be adaptogenic herbs for kind of like energy, power, strength, for athletics. Again, those kind of encompass a lot of different things, but that's kind of what next week's topic will be. And then week after that will be pain and inflammation stuff. And then I'll be putting the rest of the schedule out online for the rest of the classes. So I'm probably going to do this like 10 or 12 weeks. So feel free to come whenever. Thanks, guys.